That time again for another exciting installment of Womanpreneur.
Womenpreneur on Sunrise.
I'm very excited for today's Womanpreneur segment. My Womanpreneur of the morning is Yvonne Ocloo, CEO. Can I say CEO, Yvonne?
Yes.
Is that the right terminology?
Yes.
CEO, Top Dog Africa Limited, Deals Market, Memories Place Event Venues. A very, very busy womanpreneur. That's why you were just saying the weekend just whizzed by.
It did.
What do your weekends typically look like?
Some are focused on work and some are catching up with family because then I miss a lot of weekends with them sometimes. So when there's not much happening on the work front, then it's home. I like it in my sofa and in my bed.
You don't go, you're not out and about catching a boogie. You're more of a homebody.
Yes.
Or was that's
more like
before?
me.
Back in the day, you used to be out about.
No, I think because my work is all people and putting experiences together, basically. So that doesn't seem to be my go-to, my first line of go-to for relaxation. I think relaxation is more slouch on the couch.
Got it.
Yes.
Amazing stuff. Now, I listed Top Dog Africa Limited, Deals Market, Memories Place, event venues, and these are all businesses that you are in charge of, that you run, and they all three are up and running.
Yes. I think the biggest, my biggest baby business-wise is Top Dog.
Top Dog.
Yes. Deals Market is growing. It's all of these I have other directors that work with me on.
Got it.
And Memories Place Venues is a dream that's evolving. It's just basically focused on creating spaces for people to host events from. Yeah.
So is it that as and when the spirit takes you, you start a new venture? I know people like that, always on another adventure. How many more businesses to go, Yvonne, until you are fully satisfied?
In little shapes and forms, I think there are 7 more in my head.
7 more.
They're supposed to be 10.
Well, budding womanpreneurs, listen up. Like I said this morning when Johnny was talking about Womanpreneur, there's a lot to learn. So let's talk about Top Dog Africa Limited. Tell us a bit about the business, what you do, when it started, and in fact, why you started.
Okay, so Top Dog goes back 20 years. I initially started working for Top Dog in about September of 2003. Then it was a department of a research company that was called West Point Consulting, that was doing a lot of marketing research, and then you find the answers, and so what are you going to do with it? So it was a division that picked up these solutions and tried to implement them. After a while, business stories, but after about 10 years it plateaued. We changed ownership structures, and I got the opportunity, and I'm so glad I took it, to be a 50% shareholder, and my husband has the other 50%.
I see.
I run it as CEO, and I've been leading it for 10 years come August. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Are you going to have a big party to celebrate the 10th anniversary?
I think we will. We have a lot of stories to tell.
Then you are doing well, because it's economy and party.
Well, not a party. It's not like a BTL, an experiential, something in the garden, something to share pictures, videos, memories, and just get together again with clients who opened their doors to us, especially in the beginning. That's always very important to me.
Is it the sort of business that people can appreciate the impact that it has? Do you think it's becoming more and more clear what you do?
Yeah, and especially on the Top Dog end, you would not necessarily say people. You probably would say brands.
Brands, right.
And a lot of FMCG brands especially, they're the ones who benefit the most from the bulk of work that Top Dog does. So we are an experiential marketing company. We do 360, or we are growing into a 360 agency, but the meat of what we do is in experiential marketing, and I dare say we're about the best there is. Yes.
Talk your bleep.
Yeah.
But for the uninitiated, what does that mean when you talk about experiential marketing?
So any form of marketing and advertising that doesn't go through a medium like radio, TV, print, or digital is experiential. So you're bringing your brands into direct contact with consumers. So your brand's products, they could be tangibles, they could be services. So we've done a myriad of things. I don't know where to start, from soaps to beverages to body lotions to telcos to anything. Really.
So anything really, once the client is before you, your task is then to think about the brand in question and how you can then, connect them with their potential customers.
Precisely. So you get a brief about what the problem is. Sometimes it's to launch a new product.
Okay.
Sometimes it's to relaunch a product or a brand that's plateaued, that has been refreshed. Sometimes it's to get a product that's not doing too well to be experienced by consumers, so it can improve a shelf offtake, like purchasing decisions. Other times is to create positive experiences with the consumer in relation to that brand. So you put the brand front and center in the consumer's mind, and when they need to make a purchasing decision, then that brand is the best friend within the category of the consumer, and so they want to make that decision. And for a lot of people, when you talk about cars, they probably will tell you a Toyota or a Mercedes-Benz because they rode in that when they were little and daddy was driving. Those kinds of experiences, those kinds of bonds give you what you call a top of mind awareness, a really high equity scores with consumers, and so you are the most likely to be bought, the most likely to be considered when a client needs to make a decision.
And that's important. Now, in terms of then sticking with Top Dog, what would you say is the most important skill to have? Is it a combination? So is it that if you're doing a job like this, you have to be the most creative? Do you have to leverage on your networking skills? Do you have to have a strong research background? What would you say is really the key? What makes the magic recipe for excelling in a job like this?
Even though it's everything you've said and more, I would say open-mindedness and the audacity to dream. Because it's such a cluttered market space, and it's important to be able to think out of the box continuously every time and create experiences that are differentiated, because the thing is to make a brand or a product or a service connect with the consumer in a really unique way, and that you cannot achieve that by doing what everybody else is doing.
That's right.
So there needs to be a differentiation all the time, and so you're constantly reinventing yourself and constantly immersing yourself in new experiences and new industries and new categories, because you really are not in control of what your next brief is going to ask you to do. So you just have to expand your tentacles, always looking out for what's going on, keeping your pulse on things. Is this what you always wanted to do? What did you study in school? So I don't know. It found me and I fell in love with it. So I am predominantly a liberal arts person, so my major is in English and Spanish.
¿Cómo está?
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
That's all I know, please.
Right. So that's where it's coming from. But somewhere in Legon, I always tell the story and mention my friend Rosetta, who knocked on my door one day and said, "Batibo," that's what she calls me. "Let's go and do this Miss Legon thing. They're doing it's boring. Let's refresh it." So I took her up on one of these long holidays, and we started to pull together what I would later understand are production meetings. And the two of us and a few others took Miss Legon, the pageant, out of Legon campus for the very first time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
To where?
The conference center.
Wow.
And it was crazy. It was a really audacious thing we did. We didn't bath for 3 days. I know Rosetta won't mind me telling this
Good
story.
morning to you, Rosetta. Is she listening to you this morning?
No,
We'll play it back for her.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, so we didn't sleep. We didn't bath for 3 days because between understanding what the people who sponsored us required, their branding on site, getting our brochures done, and the fact that Newtown is not, you send a pretty order for a printing brochure and it gets done like clockwork. It doesn't work like that. We found out we had to be there at the press and make sure that our stuff got, pulled out, and then dealing with lights and sound and staging, and then the girls costuming and their makeup and all of that. So yeah, I think that was one of my big starting point. Even though were I to go back, I think it's been starting my whole life. I come from a long line of people who use their hands. So my mom, within her circles, is a really celebrated chef cook. Her name is Iris.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of my growing up years cooking with her. And her sister was into fashion, and another one into hairdressing, and then my youngest aunt was into acting, Mona Lisa. So I spent my between 9 and 11 pulling off a few stage plays at the art center then. Live stage plays with your David Dontos and your Abiadachis and stuff like that.
It's interesting to look back and then you can pinpoint where actually your career started,
Exactly.
right? You'll have an official date, if you will, but once you search within your memory,
Exactly.
you think, I've always actually kind of done this low key. It's always in the DNA somehow.
It is.
I found videos where my brother would film me with a pretend microphone in front of our gate when we lived at Ringway, and I would, hello, good afternoon, welcome to.
Oh, wow.
And so things like that make you think it's always maybe been simmering.
It's
you can
there.
take a different path, but if your spirit says this is your calling, sometimes you'll find your
finds
way
you. Yeah.
there. Well, time check, it is some 10 minutes to the top of the hour, 10 a.m. We're speaking with Yvonne Ocloo. This is Womanpreneur. It happens every Tuesday, and we're certainly learning some tips and tricks, some gems from Yvonne, CEO, Top Dog Africa Limited, Deals Market, Memories Place event venues. And Deals Market, tell us about that. What is Deals Market all about?
So Deals Market is a product of COVID.
Right.
So that was us working with our client who challenged us to find a way to put products at the doorstep of consumers, even though there was a lockdown on everything. And so we had a 1-hour conversation, and we got 2 cell phones with SIM. Say, okay, so we have designed the flyers and we're ready to go next week. We're going to put it out. If anybody needs products, they're going to call this number, and you need to put them in connect with our agents so that they can be supplied. And we tried that for like 2 days, and agents are like, no, that's not our job. We don't do door to door. We supply shops, or we go around, and if you call us, then we sell to you, but we can't do that whole drive to individual homes. So the thing was, how do we still achieve the aim? And that's the other thing about me. I think I am obstinate. Like once I set my mind to it, there has to be a way for it to work, right? So we started to take on products, and when you do make a call, we figure out where you are and we figure out a way of getting it to you. So that worked for consumers during COVID, and then the more opened up we got, the less relevant that became, because people got back mostly into going back into shops to shop for what they needed. So we found a new need that we're satisfying now, which is supplying hospitality institutions with bulk frozen dairy products. So it's quite a tricky space to work in, temperature control, product quality. But we've been doing it. It's 3rd year at the end of April. So yeah.
And that's no easy feat.
No, it's not.
To be 3 years in, especially
Yes.
with how you've narrated it started out.
Yes.
Well, here's 3 more to do more.
Yes, exactly.
And then there's also Memories Place Event Ventures. You said
Yeah.
that's venues. That's
Garden
evolving.
venues. It's evolving, but it's focused on providing spaces for functions, really. So managed spaces for functions. So there is a mid-market need. Not too many people will afford your high-end hotels,
Right.
and not everybody really wants to deal with the cleaning up at home. Or the more urban and cosmopolitan we become, we're all living in flats and apartments.
That's
and
right.
But it doesn't stop the fact that we're African and we're very social.
That's
and
right.
in large numbers. So the idea is to create spaces for socialization.
Yeah, there's definitely a gap there because,
Yes.
like you said, it's either something really high end,
Yes.
or you have to go and beg, your
Exactly.
richest uncle to
Exactly.
use his front lawn or the space in the house.
Exactly.
It's necessary.
Yeah, so we have one space of our own, and we are working with 3 more spaces, Spintex, East Legon, and Oyarifa, that are within our portfolio that we manage for the owners. Yes.
Well, we're halfway through the year. More to come, of course, another
Yes.
6 months or so
Yes.
to go. What are you hoping for all of the businesses? What is the main focus, and what are some of the things you want to check off your to-do list?
Right. I can only ask for growth. We're in a really tricky economy right
Yes.
now, and so even staying afloat is a blessing. So I think for this year it's quite bold to look out for growth, but that's what I'm aiming at for growth across the 3 businesses. And I have to shout out my team. They're amazing people. Yes, and this wouldn't be possible without the people. It takes a village.
Right.
It takes a village.
Absolutely.
And you say I'm a very busy person, but it's only because I have solid support systems. Yes, so there is my husband, Walanyo. I know he's listening. Wind beneath my wings.
Shout out to hubby. We love to hear it.
Wind beneath my wings. There are my children who keep up with my absence, and there's my parents who have my kids every weekday afternoon, so I can do all my afternoon meetings. And then again, my team by day, by night. We're like a family. So
Amazing stuff. Well, what's the biggest business lesson you think you've learned? Something that cuts across the different business dealings that you've had. Something that budding womanpreneurs can also learn from. If you could give advice.
I think that one of the things I have noticed for a lot of people is that we're afraid to open up, especially to our team. And I think one of the reasons, besides the fact that I've been blessed with great people, there's also the bit about being transparent and allowing them to own the vision with you. And that cannot come by backing down orders all the time. It comes from sharing your wins and losses. And I think that's when you build people who are committed to your vision and who understand where you're going. I'm not saying they'll stay with you forever, but so on my team, anybody could tell you a yes or no, and it may not be very different from what I'd have to say to you, because they understand what is happening with the business and where we are at any point in time or the other. So I think you should treat your people right and know you cannot do it alone. Absolutely not.
I think that's a very good tip. It's not one that we've heard often on Womanpreneur.
Yeah.
So if you've not learned anything at all from Yvonne this morning, I think that's a good one to put in your back pocket. If you're working with a team, budding womanpreneurs, your CEOs, your bosses, it's not all about sharing the wins, but also letting the team know where you stand. And I think nothing brings people closer than sharing, not things being kept in the dark. Well, we're wrapping up on this segment of Womanpreneur. Time flies when you're having fun, but I know this isn't the last time that we engage with Yvonne. There's so much more we want to find out and learn from you.
Doesn't matter how you feel.
So it's an open invitation. Do come back.
And then the boss chick.
I'll be dragging you kicking and screaming.
I will take you up on it.
But plug the socials for us so we know where to find you if we're looking for you, and all of the businesses as well.
So it's basically on IG is everything I just said at Top Dog Africa, at Deals Market, at Memories Place event venues. That's it.
All right, but what about even your personal page? If
At
they're young?
YS Ocloo.
At YS Ocloo,
Yes,
just go
on
and
IG.
check out
Yes.
Yvonne on IG.
Yes.
YS Ocloo,
Yes.
and you can learn some more certainly
Yeah.
over there.
The strength of a woman. Ain't nobody better than the boss chick. All the ladies with the fight for the moolah. With the
Well, before we finally say au revoir, adios, and goodbye, a very happy birthday going out to a very special girl. This one says, happy birthday to my darling girl. I wish you the very best of life this year. I pray that God blesses you beyond measure. Love you, Pessy. Pessy. It's your birthday today. Janet says, have an incredible day.
She looking for help.
Happy birthday.
Cause she did suffer from sulfate. And when you were hell late, ladies in the house, and man, I'm a hustle to see the dollar bill. Become a drunk.
Well, this is where we bid you farewell. It's been an incredible morning so far.
This is
The news at 10 is coming right up. Noble Crosby Annan is here, poised and ready.
fight for the moolah.
On behalf of the rest of the team, do have an incredible Tuesday. We're back bright and early tomorrow. We'll see you then.
She be well paid. On Playboy, she looking for help. Cause she did
Womenpreneur
suffer from sulfate.
on
And when you were hell
Sunrise.
late,